But Jokic is clearly the best player overall in the league and one of the best players we've seen that I'm not sure, Max, how the story of him is going to be written. Like, we might be witnessing one of the best players of all time, and I think people are not reacting to it appropriately because they're almost just used to what he does. So I don't know. What's your general perception of Jokic, both in terms of how he's viewed and how he should be viewed historically for all that he's been able to do?
He is one of the few guys, you think about it, he is so unique. And when I think about players, I think about the greatness of players here recently is how they changed the game. Will Chamberlain changed the game, and they had to make the lanes bigger and all this other stuff. Steph Curry changed the game. His ability to knock down the three. I talked to his dad, Dale Curry. I said, I hate what your son did. He's ruined the NBA. And Dale Curry said to me about Steph Curry, he said, a lot of shot takers, not a lot of shot makers. Now, Jokic is something I don't like in the fact, I don't like caviar. Probably never had caviar. But I know it's expensive. I know it's supposed to be good. And he's just that damn good where he's able to put the ball. I thought it was crazy to see him when he used to bring the ball up the floor. I'm like, he's 6'11". He's bringing the ball, seven feet tall, bringing the ball up. Look at his assist ratio. You love him because he isn't physically intimidating with his quickness. He's big, but he's not fast. He's big, but he doesn't jump. He's grabbing rebounds fundamentally. It's just really, his game reminds me a lot because, except, this part. There I say, Kevin McHale will probably kill me. Reminds me a lot of Kevin McHale. But Kevin McHale was a reluctant passer. Joker is a confirmed passer of the basketball. He can get you a triple-double at any time. And he shoots the three. The new NBA is exactly tailored the way he plays.
Yeah.
He shoots the three. He runs the floor. He passes. He moves around the basketball. So that's what I think is. I think that's why I look at his greatness.
Because of his size, he's always going to be looked at as a center, and of course that he is. And I'm curious.
Use the word, John. Use the word lumbering.
Lumbering.
That's the way you say it.
Look,
lumbering.
because he's enormous, you can't mistake him as anything other than a center, even though he's basically playing point guard or point forward on the Nuggets here. But he does a little bit of everything. You mentioned McHale. Do you not think that the better comp might be Larry in terms of rebounding, passing, shooting, able to score, able to get people involved, can dominate a game without taking shots? It could dominate a game by some games. Jokic is like, I guess I got to score 40, and he does. Where Larry was more of a, I'm going to score all the time, but he was also getting these.
I think that when I'm saying Kevin McHale, I'm just saying physically. When you
but in terms of style and what he can do to affect the game,
and the body built, not the prototypical athlete you see. It's like the Greyhound running up and down, dunking on people. That's why I say McHale. But you're right; it does remind you more of Larry Bird's game in the fact of being a great passer, being a great rebounder. He is. You can't even imagine how it begins with. It begins and ends with him when you think about greatness of players and their sizes.
And so that's what's interesting to me. And I've said this before. I'm curious your take on it. I think Nikola Jokic and the way that both how he plays with his physical limitations and the modern day NBA being so heavy on 3-pointers and pace and space and all of these things. The interesting thing is that Larry Bird, most players of older generations, oftentimes people look at him, even at the time, Larry's physical limitations always worked against him in terms of how he was viewed. And when you compare older generation players to now, you say athletically they could never keep up. And then you see a guy like Jokic, who athletically is not at all a good athlete, but able to do what he does because of his mind and because of his ability to do many things. I think oddly, this is my contention if I'm off base, I think Jokic's greatness currently actually elevates Bird's status in terms of how would he translate to now? Because amazingly, Bird might be better now than he was then, because he'd probably be shooting 9-10 threes a game, in addition to being able to play a stretch four as opposed to having to play a small forward guarding, trying to chase Michael Jordan around, or try to guard quicker, small forward types there. He'd just be a four. He wouldn't even think about playing him anywhere else, which would change his defensive assignments and what he'd be able to do on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, I think that comparison is a good one, and it does elevate Larry when you think about what he could do. Because Larry was a great rebounder, a great passer. His vision on the court. He made steals not because he was quicker than anybody else.
Knew where he was going.
Smarter, able to get to certain places on the floor. He anticipated really well. What you see at Jokic, same thing. He is anticipation. Mentally, again, he is up here and everybody else is kind of down here. Physically, he's down here and everybody else physically is so much better. But what he does with the mental aspect and the physical, they come together and they have him at the very top.